Hey YouTube. Yeah, I'm busy the next couple of days, so I might not be able to get any videos out. So I'll leave. I thought I would treat you all to my favourite type of guitar, Harley Benton. So this is, I have no idea what model it is. I'll need to look it up. I've also not really done anything to it. All I've done is I gave it a clean and put strings on it. I've got a wobbly tone control and a wobbly output jack, but I mean these things are super easy to fix. So I'm just assuming that this has not had any work done on it. A pal got it in a trade. And someone had coloured the pickups in. I don't know. And it's a 7 string. So I can't really play 7 strings. Let's see how it goes. Does it actually work? Are we on? It might be coming through the speakers. I don't know. Seems a little bit spanky, but saying that the action's really low. Could do with a wee bit of a setup. So what we've got here is I suppose you'd like a Jackson or something like that. I'm looking at it. I'm thinking this is the sort of bog standard. I'm expecting, I don't know, 120 quid, 150 quid, something like that. 7 string guitar for your. I don't know how popular 7 string guitars are these days. Obviously using tons of distortion. Rat pedal. And you're just meant to go. Maybe the rusty cross pedal instead. Oh, it's doing something there, isn't it? Got a right pulsing thing going. Two. Yeah, so I think currently the action's just on the low side. It's very it's a bit spanky. But I'm saying that, there's not really any way of adjusting the what do you call it? The curvature of the bridge. So I mean, my beef with Harley Bentons is people saying they're pure amazing. See, this kind of happens with all the guitar companies. See, they're sort of cheaper, not trying to be anything they're not. Guitars that everyone does. I mean, I kind of, you'll notice it a lot. I mean, you think of things like the sort of the cheaper end of the West tones and stuff like that. I like a guitar that's cheap to assemble. It's been designed in such a way that there's very little to it. You know, okay, we've got a tunematic bridge. It's through strung, volume tone, 2 humbuckers, 24 fret neck. But it doesn't have all the fancy stuff. It doesn't, it's not cocobolo and baked maple and stainless steel and all that nonsense. It's just, we're making a guitar that's going to work. I have a thing for the basic type guitar. I'll even look at that's one of my favourite guitars. That my 2 best guitars. That's got all the fancy stuff on it. That really, okay, it's got a ridiculous flame maple neck and ebony and all the parts are really expensive, but it's just a piece of wood cut into a shape and built. It doesn't have bindings and it's not solid walnut and all that nonsense, which you don't need. Yeah, so I mean, it seems alright. I'm a wee bit worried about that being a bit buzzy there. That's really spanky. Seems to have a real. The nut's not bad. I was going to say the nut's not being cut badly. They don't cut the nut in these things. They'll just buy a nut that's almost the right size and put it on. I would have said that the strings don't seem to sit particularly far into the nut. They look very much like they're sitting on top of it. There's like a wee. You imagine there's your string. It's kind of sitting in the nut like that, not like where you would want it to be. But if it doesn't come off, then that's fine. Angle back headstock. I was going to say there isn't a scarf joint. There kind of is. It's in the headstock. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. The scarf joint's here, so normally I would expect the scarf joint to be here. It's here. A bit different. It seems to be missing its truss rod cover. That probably told me what model number it was. Yeah, so I mean... obviously reverb's not a good... You don't want reverb on it. You just want just dry. Maybe 3 distortion pedals is a bit much. The thing I find about 7 stringers is, I've got a J-Pax one that Jen kind of didn't like the painting on it, and I'm not sure I did. I don't know what I'm going to do with that guitar. When I made myself, because I fancied I should have a 7 stringer. It's the way like Steve Vai used it. I think he might, and I don't think he had a high A, but he used it as more of an extension to your that reason. So you can get, instead of going, you can do that instead of going. So like for efficiency, you can get that note there kind of thing. So you can just that reason. But Korn came along and realised that basically going the tendency to, and maybe even quite commonly tune these down to what would I tune that down to? I remember I did this before with one of these crazy tuned guitars, and somebody said, that's a bit, what was that song you were playing at 3 minutes 20, and that's the best riff I've ever heard. It was like, basically what I've done is just tune it down. So I would tune it down to, there's definitely something going on with that. That string, what's going on there? Is it? I'm just feeling there's something. It might just be too low. There is a point on any guitar when you put the action just too low, and I don't know. Maybe when you're doing the new metal or whatever you call it, right? So I was going to tune this down, wasn't I? What's that? No, what was that? An A. So I'm tuning it to an A. And I've just put these strings on, so I'll tune. That's alright. So I'm kind of intentionally doing this before I do any work. I will obviously do another video once I've got it up and running properly. But I'm just thinking at that point I might pure hate the guitar because I've spent ages doing something stupid and I've realised what was wrong with the build. But as I said before, I'm always dissing Harley Bentons, but the ones I normally get are ones that are broken. Or it's like, can you make my guitar work? Like, yeah, okay, then you get a Harley Benton. It's like, it just buzzes a bit. And you're like, yeah, well, the nut's in the wrong place. This tuner's bent. The bridge is at a funny angle. All these things. This doesn't seem to have any of that. I would say that the action is probably just too low, which is causing it to just be a bit spanky. But I was sitting there but tuning it down. So I've basically done the drop D, but I've dropped it to A. So you can now go. What I miss is I should have my metal. Oh no! I sold my Metal Master to Jen. Damn it! That was my go-to heavy metal pedal. I done Big Muff Micro Metal Muff, which did that thing which I don't really like, but it was the only pedal I had that did it. But you can hear it muting out. buzzing. It's fretting out. Being the difference, the truss rod is about right. So I mean, I think it might just be a simple point of what might have happened as the owner of this has gone, oh, I'll lower the action, so they've just brought the bridge down a bit, which is fine. But unless you're playing really softly, don't like that drum tune. What I am really noticing on this guitar is how much I play here, because I'm constantly wanting to play those notes, the ones that are a bit spanky. So maybe if I was playing somewhere else. Be interested to see if I can make this work. Because I mean, I was picking this up. I had a wee strum of it. I literally put strings on it last night. I had a wee strum on it. I'm going out shortly, so I'm just trying to stick out a video before I go. But yeah, there's problems. That's not dung. That's. I mean, to be honest, I think it's just the action's too low. There is every guitar has its limits to how low the action can go and still work. What you'll find is very expensive guitars, you can generally get the action a bit lower before it does this. The tendency to set up an Ibanez RG if you've got one, so it plays and you don't even have to hold the strings down. You just lightly think about setting your finger on it and you're holding it down. You can do that with a very expensive guitar, sort of. The cheaper end ones, you just... Not that I would, anyway, but the cheaper ones, you just can't get that low in action. This has got a totally tiny action. That tone control's not doing anything, is it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, what's happened there is see that bolt on the top is loose, I think. It is, aye. So what's happening is it's been turned and then the whole pot's turned round the back, and then the wires that are going to the pot have gone spun round it and then it stops working. So that's fixable just by taking it off. That technically could have happened with any guitar. You tend to find that something that's been put together very, very quickly, they don't tighten up these bolts quite fully. The same with the tuners, these bolts on the tuners, it's like, I guess maybe the paint's not quite dry or something, they don't want to tighten them up. This is not just Harley Benton, this is everyone. And it's like, whenever you're changing the strings, especially if it's the first time since you bought a new guitar, get a wee socket set or a wee adjustable spanner and just tighten up those when you're changing strings. Any guitar, just check them. I mean, they might be all right, but I've had guitars in to get the tuners changed because it won't hold tune. This tuner's a bit shit, and you're like that. It's hardly. It's hanging on. It's like this bolt's completely undone, so the tuner's kind of like just tighten it up. That might sort it. I think it seems to be kind of all right under the. But I mean that the tone thing is something you can fix yourself, assuming that you're able to put a screw in or put a shelf up without stabbing yourself with a screwdriver. You're able to take that off, take the back plate off, and basically just hold the pot physically on the back, unwind it so it's the bit where the wire's all wrapped up, so it's not all wrapped up. Physically hold it, tighten up with a socket set or an adjustable spanner or a spanner. Same with the output jack, that's just a case of unscrewing it and then just tightening it up. These are not guitar techie things, really. Just common sensey. Person who's got the ability to put some screws back in again. You know what I mean? Or can you change a plug? Like that's where it comes in. If you can change a plug, you can sort those two issues. And what I think is I'm just going to raise the action a bit because the frets seem good. I imagine it's a rosewood fingerboard. I noticed that this one actually I cleaned off some sticker residue, so a previous owner must have had a bit of something on top of that, so you didn't know it was a Harley Benton. No point in doing that. Neck's actually quite nice on it. It's nice, and it's actually not that dissimilar to the PV one I've got. 24 fret, and understated maybe the word. This would be a good J-Pax, actually, something like this. It's just, you know, I find a black guitar very uninteresting, but over the last year or something like that, with wiring so many of these J-Pax guitars and messing about with them all the time, sometimes just having something that doesn't hurt your eyes is a good thing. I mean that the nicest possible way. It's just that the J-Pax guitars become overwhelming, especially over our house. You just get like 6 of them, and you're just like, one J-Pax in a room of black guitars will just be absolutely glorious, but like a wall of them, it's just It's like have you ever heard Dream Theater? It's like watching Dream Theater. It's just it's good. I love it, but it's too much. I need can I listen to just some of it rather than all of it at the same time. Too much. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's all right. Assuming that I'm not complaining about that and that's easy to fix. And if I raise the action, assuming there's nothing else wrong, the nut kind of looks all right. The pickups actually, well, okay, maybe not. The pickups are almost perfectly in below the strings, or almost in below the strings. That's just the inaccuracies. No, I argue it doesn't make that much difference if they're not perfectly centered. I hope this bridge is in the right place. That one's all right apart from its buzzing. So it just needs intonated. But it's within the travel of the saddles, which is a good thing. I've had Harley Bentons before where it's not within the travel of the saddles, and you're like, you got to take the bridge off and move it. Which, on something like a Telecaster, that's why when I was in China I was buying tellies, because if the bridge is slightly off, you can kind of unbolt it and you get like a 5mm in any direction. You can just put it back on again in the right place, rather than a Tunematic. You can't really move that. You can't see it because it's too dark. But one of these bridges, obviously, I gave this a wipe literally before I picked it up. So it might be somewhat of a fingerprint magnet being shiny black. So just that. As I said, I don't know. My pal Wayne's coming up, so I might get a wee jam video or something, or I don't really know what I'm doing for the next few days. But I'll be back for the live stream on Sunday anyway, and I'm sure I'll find some videos to churn out. So just in case you think something's happened to me, it's like it's probably just drinking. Rock on, have a good week. Oh, that's all right, it's Wednesday, so it's only Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I maybe miss me 3 days. Don't miss me too much. Catch you later.